Some they call it functional alcoholism, but if you know anything about Ben, he's got vision with precision, microphones and a tinkle of derision. You're about to hear what beer can be. It's time for Barley and me.
Welcome to Barley and Me. I'm your host, Ben Rice. This is episode 184. We're here today in Roseville, California at the Monk Cellar. With us from the Monk Cellar,
Andy Klein. Yes, been here for 10 years. Been brewing in Sacramento for almost 30 years.
Nice. And with us today, our special guest,
Amber Dalske, certified beer judge with the BJCP program, and longtime listener, first-time guest.
Wow. And I remember when I was told I should have you as a guest, it was back when men were men and Twitter was Twitter. It was years ago. Karen Lewis suggested that I reach out to you to do an episode that never did till right now. How does that make you feel?
I think we were going to do an episode at one of the craft beer summits.
Yes.
Too, and then something happened, but
Life.
yeah.
As it often does. So it's only been like 6 or 7 years of me just ignoring you and not asking you to do an episode, and I'm very sorry.
I answered the call, though.
You did.
Yeah.
On short notice, also, which I appreciate.
You said Oktoberfest. I said I am there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard sell. Monk Cellar, just a preeminent brewery in the area.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you can get the new, the old, and the experimental.
Right. Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. Got the open fermenter right
Yeah.
behind us here. Actively going right now. Looks like a big old loaf of bread.
Mm-hmm.
Started with 3 of those and then took 2 out, and we have a couple of horizontal lagering tanks now. So we're doing, of course, the Belgian beers, which I think is kind of what we're most known for. But we do some really good lagers as well. And, of course, some IPAs and stouts and everything in between. So we do a little bit of everything.
Not to mention a full bar and a restaurant.
Full bar restaurant. You know, it's funny. The full bar was kind of a afterthought when I was writing the business plan. I'm like, okay, I don't want a group of 6 people that want to go out and one person wants a vodka cranberry or something and not come here. I want everyone to be able to come here. And I think we started with like 5 bourbons on the list, and now we have about 90. It's been quite a thing. Yeah, and our cocktail program has been awesome, headed up by Kevin Mack, our bar manager. And of course, the food. Yeah. Food is kind of Belgian, European-esque. I call it fine pub food.
Yes.
But it's, fish and chips, mussels, really good burgers. So, yeah, a little bit of everything.
Little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And I know the plan was a restaurant, obviously, but it's fun to watch you guys grow into like what the concept was originally to now, which is 10 years. 10
years, yeah. And you wouldn't know unless you saw a before picture of me and then a picture of me now. I'm like, yeah, it's been 10 years. Yeah, the original concept was very small. In fact, we were looking in Midtown Sacramento at I think it was called City Suds. It was a laundromat.
Oh, yeah.
Right across from Mulvaney's. Actually put a letter of intent to open there, and that was about 4,500 square feet. Which
that was the Golden Road spot eventually, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So that just didn't work out, and I am from Roseville, and the city owned this building that we're in now, and they were actively looking for something for downtown as part of the revitalization of downtown. So they reached out, and I came and looked at the building, and it was much bigger than we were anticipating. Yeah, we went from about 4,500 square feet to the total building size here is about 9,000 square feet.
Double or nothing.
Right. Yeah. So it went from a brewery with a little bit of bar stuff and a little bit of food to a full-on restaurant with a full-on full bar and a brewery. So, yeah, it's evolved, and downtown has evolved, and it's just an amazing place. Yeah, tons of people coming down, and it's fun.
Yeah. Amber, how do you feel about this business project?
I can't remember the first time I came out to Monk Cellar. It was probably, I want to say 7 or so years ago. So I don't get out to Roseville. It's very much off the grid for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Monk Cellar was on our quarantine rotation like during COVID, where we would get takeout food, and then we've been out here a couple other times, softball tournaments and stuff, you know. But when I mentioned to my son that I was doing the podcast here, he was like, "Oh my God, their duck fat fries are so good," and like a teenager remembering that specifically, I was like, wow, I didn't even remember that they made duck fat fries, but you're right. And so that was cool.
Awesome.
But as far as like the beer options here go, always a fan, because I'll drink pretty much anything. That's one of the things that it's a pet peeve of mine when you go somewhere and they're like, oh, well, what do you normally drink? Well, it depends what you have. Yeah. Right. So sometimes I'm in the mood for an amber ale. Sometimes, I'm hungry. I want a hazy, something I can chew on. Or it's hot. Maybe I want a Pilsner or Kolsch or something, but tell me what you have and then I'll make an educated decision. So love going to breweries with options. Right. Yeah. So Monk's is definitely one of those.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. For me, people ask me all the time, what's your favorite beer? And I don't really have a favorite beer. I have beers that I drink often, but it's more of the mood and the situation, right? It's just like, am I eating something? Is it hot? Like you said, is it?
Yeah, there's so many factors. It's like, that's the same thing for movies. Like, if you're like in a really good mood, you're not going to want to watch your favorite movie if it's a sad movie, you know? You're like, yeah. It's like, it's my favorite. In these circumstances, this would be what I would like to watch or drink, but we're not in that circumstance, so the answer has changed. Yeah. I think we're all adults. We don't have a favorite color anymore. Does anybody have a favorite color?
I always go back between blue and green.
Yeah, see, multiple colors for certain occasions. Yeah, exactly. Earth tones. I'm a big earth tones person.
I'm a teal girl.
Okay. Well, teal is a great color.
Yeah, but you can't wear it every day.
No, it's too poppin'.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's too bold sometimes. Tone it down.
Probably black every day.
Yeah.
But teal in my heart.
Yeah. Black in my heart, teal on the outside. For me. Yeah. So I think that's fine. So today, as we're recording, which no one will be here to be aware, this won't matter to anybody listening because they've missed it. Today is Oktoberfest for you.
It is Oktoberfest, yeah. It's Oktoberfest number 10 for us, and we always follow the same schedule as they do over in Munich, which it varies, but usually the kind of second to last weekend of September. And one of the cool things is that we do is just like Munich, we have our mayor of Roseville come and kind of kick off the celebration. That happened last night, Friday. And then tonight, we always pick someone from our social media to kind of come and do a guest tapping.
Oh, yeah, I saw the
So we make a big deal out of it, and we've got a little firkin in the back of the bar, and I make sure it's warmed up a little bit so it sprays all over the place. And it's fun. And then the band, we have a band that comes, they've been with us both times for about 4 years now. So yeah, and we as you can see, which your listeners can't see, but we kind of turned it into a big a German beer hall.
Yeah.
It's kind of the few times that we do kind of put the kind of branding of things here.
Yeah.
Off most of the time, we try not to.
A lot of Hofbrau going on over here.
Right. Polliner, Hofbrau.
Did you figure out who you're going to have tap it today?
We did. Zach Souza.
Okay.
He's been trying every single year for 10 years.
Okay, yeah. Throw him a bone.
Yeah. Throw him a bone. And so he was here last night and kind of watched the mayor do his thing. And I think he's a little nervous. So we'll
it's
see.
nerve-wracking. Yeah. How did the mayor do?
Mayor did fantastic. He was in the 10 years, the 10 times we've had a mayor come. He was the only one to come in Lederhosen.
Okay.
So he was just ready to go, and he's such a ham and just kind of really just played it up.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. If you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, just play it up.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, and I caution them. I said, don't do it too, when you're tapping, make sure you're just kind of hitting it a little bit because we want some spray. We just don't want, it's just,
Yeah, just tap it in.
Right.
Tap it in. Give it a little tappy.
Yeah.
Amber, you were mentioning earlier your love of Oktoberfest for multiple reasons.
Right. So it's Oktoberfest season. It's birthday season for me. My birthday's on Monday. So just great timing, I think, every year. It's like Oktoberfest the weekend before, Oktoberfest somewhere else next weekend. I think Martzen is probably my favorite style just in life. As a youth, I will say 20 plus years ago, one of my early jobs was at Sudwork brewery, the Sacramento location, actually. So that's aging myself. And so, they always had like the four, right? So the Martzen, the Helles, the Pilsner,
And the Hef.
and the Hef. I always forget about the Hef. But Martzen was like my beer awakening, I think. And then you get into the winter and it's like Doppelbock, and then the spring we do the Maibach. I still say we, no affiliation anymore. But it's like mother's milk, really. And so Oktoberfest really lends itself. Any kind of Festbier. I also love a Vienna lager, so that's like my go-to. I think if someone has that on the menu, easily first beer.
Yeah.
I loved that you brought up Sudwerk, because that's kind of really, that in Rubicon kind of started it for me. Back in the early 90s, like 91, 92, 93. And Sudwerk in particular, I lived in Roseville at the time, but my now wife and I would go there and just kind of hang out. And it's kind of, I had already fallen in love with beer and already was thinking that maybe this is what I wanted to do for a living. But Sudwerk in particular just kind of, they had the open fermentation tanks, which they still do in Davis. And it was cool because actually 2 weeks ago, yesterday, we did a collaboration with them, Kolsch. We're going to have that on for our anniversary, one of the beers that we're doing. So it was a total full circle, just awesome bucket list collab for me. So
Yeah.
Loved Sudwerk.
Collaboration.
I like that.
I think is what it's called
Yeah.
when you do that. I don't think anybody's ever done that before. Is that even allowed? To
I
collab
like
on a
that.
Kolsch?
Yeah, I like that. We don't have a name for it. I think you
Collaboration.
just picked the name.
Yeah. I'm full of them. I got all this stuff. Andy, not only are you 10 years in at Monk Cellar, but you've also brewed before. And that doesn't matter for this question. I just want to put it on the record so people know you're not just some 10-year-in-the-game guy. But you also recently came back from Europe. How was that?
Awesome.
I mean, if you're like a European-style brewer, that's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
a great trip.
Yeah,
for you.
I was lucky enough to go to Germany, actually, when I was between my junior and senior year of high school. Stayed with a family and then toured around. And I didn't know it at the time, but really that was kind of what got me down this path. When I look back on it, it wasn't uncommon I was 17 at the time, so not uncommon to just sit around with my host family, their 14-year-old and their 18-year-old, having dinner. And we're all sipping on a small glass of beer, just hanging out. And it wasn't about, as teenagers at the time from America, we were like, all right, let's get beer, let's get drunk, let's, whatever. Over there, it's just part of normal civilized life, and you just sit around and you drink something and you eat food and you talk politics or sports or whatever. So it was a total eye-opener for me. So, after that, went away to college, came back, and went back to Europe at that time, and that's really the moment that it kind of solidified for me as far as that whole kind of European culture concept of beer and food and just good times, and not about getting drunk and being silly.
Yeah.
So came back and moved back in with my parents and started making beer in their basement. And then UC Davis had a brewing science engineering certificate program. So I did that, and then got out and started brewing at Sacramento Brewing Company in 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got our seed, we've got our germination, and we got our malting. That's what I got from that.
Fun fact, you mentioned Sacramento Brewing. I found an old coupon for that brewery, because I remember I was working at SETI's around the same time, and so we would go out to Sacramento Brewing Company, and I had, I don't know, coupons for restaurants and stuff were much more prevalent than they are now. But so I found it, and it was in perfect condition, and so it's actually on my fridge.
Wow, that's a relic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frame that.
Yeah. That, Sacramento Brewing was a block and a half from where my first, living alone rental property was. So I was there fairly frequently in the, 2005, 2006 maybe, I think is probably when I lived there. I don't know. Time is who cares? That's about right?
Yeah,
And then,
early 2000s.
Yeah, I would like have my birthday there, and my favorite thing was that they always had Allagash on. They had what's that one that's super good? You know, the
Allagash?
one, not the white. No, the super powerful one.
Oh,
The
Curio?
The Curio
Yes,
was always on. Yeah. Oh man, I was like, I can walk a block and a half and get a Curio. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a big part of Sacramento beer history. Like, you're from there. So there's some other people that are having an Oktoberfest today that also are from there. I don't know if it's in the water at Sacramento Brewing that you would just really love Oktoberfest, do you think?
Maybe. I mean, Sam, the original owner and founder of Sac Brewing, he was a big European beer fan, and of course, Mr. Hoey got his.
Oh, that's the name. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So, in fact, Peter and I just did a collab for our anniversary, and it's kind of an homage to Sam Peterson. It's a British bitter. In fact, I have some right here.
Oh no! Well, I
you wanna
guess
try
What a segue.
What a segue! I'm magical at
And
this.
I have to say, before you try and taste it, it's just finishing up fermentation. It's not done. But this beer is kind of patterned after a beer that both Peter and Hoey and I love in England called Landlord. And it's the Timothy Taylor Brewery. It is often or most served out of a cask in England. It's just over 4% alcohol. It's 100% Golden Promise malt, a little bit of crystal malt, and Styrian Golding hops. So, yeah, most of the hop addition in the Whirlpool kind of at knockout. But this beer, at least during our anniversary, will be served out of our beer engine and should be tasty. Oh, and I did forget to say that this was open fermented in the right behind us.
Oh, nice.
Just like it is at the Timothy Taylor Brewery.
Yeah.
And we got a hold of their yeast, so it has a nice little estery component, but there's a little bit of citrus kind of
On the
Sneaking
nose.
from that
Yeah.
hop charge, the late hop charge. It was a good amount of Styrian Goldings.
Yeah. Oh man.
And then firm, I think we went for 35 IBUs. So for such a low gravity beer, it's got a firm amount of bitterness there. But it's one of those beers that you can just drink all day long. And
Yeah. How far through the fermentation process is this, would you say, right now?
This is about 5 days in, so it's finished. It's hit its terminal gravity, so now it's just kind of conditioning. We'll take the temperature down today, actually tomorrow. Need another day of diacetyl rest, and then it'll just sit in cold condition until we're ready to go. We're going to bottle it, bottle condition it, in kind of a, listeners can't see it, but it's kind of this Bombardier style bottle. So it'll be bottle conditioned and available
Nice.
during the anniversary.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned casks, and those often are named a different thing.
Yes, Firkin.
And now, I don't want to be the person who says this is my idea, but I thought during the most recent SAC Beer Week, one of the things that I'd missed for the last several years is the FIRKINFEST that Rubicon, as previously mentioned, used to do, and it kind of went the way of the buffalo. And so I started a small petition to maybe think about doing that for next year's Beer Week, but then one of your employees took that idea and ran up the flagpole, it sounds like. It seems like for your anniversary, maybe.
Yes, yeah, we are in fact doing a FIRKINFEST. We did do a few of them during SAC Beer Week, even when Rubicon was still doing it.
Oh yeah,
just
I did
because
come to one. Yeah.
Yeah, just because, as Amber mentioned, it's not like you just hop in the car and come out to Roseville and drink, or people from Roseville can. I mean, you can now with Uber and Lyft and all that, but I wanted to do something different and fun here in Placer County, so I didn't feel like I was impacting theirs. But so we have done several. But yes, for anniversary, we specifically wanted to do one, and we're doing it on the Saturday of our anniversary, which is the 19th. So we're doing something every single day that week, but that Saturday we're doing the FIRKINFEST. And as I thought about different breweries that I wanted to kind of include in it. I just kept going back to some of these old school, just classic breweries that have been around a while. So Moonlight is going to join us that day. Sierra Nevada, of course.
Naturally.
I'm really hoping it's the Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Reached out to Firestone Walker, but they weren't able to join us, unfortunately. Anderson Valley, the Boone to Amber.
Oh,
Yes.
I would love
Yeah.
a Boone on. Oh, that sounds perfect.
It's going to be awesome, yeah.
I'm
Foul.
not. You know what? I'm just going to drink that. Sorry, everybody else. I'm just
Yeah.
going to drink the Boone nonstop.
Yeah. Who else we have? Oh, we have a couple of newer breweries. Visante Adairs is going to give us a fantastic saison,
Okay.
lightly dry hopped in the Firkin. Who else we got? Wondrous. So some of the newer breweries, Wondrous. Log Off will be here. Matty Groves. Got to have
Okay,
their
great.
English style in a cask here.
Like a mild, or
He's not exactly sure yet.
Okay.
Might be a dry stout.
okay,
He's kind of checking his production schedule. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Because that mild is
It's-
incredible.
It'll be fantastic.
But
Yeah. And then, of course, us. And am I forgetting anyone? Oh. Lest I forget Peter Hoey.
yeah,
Yeah, Urban Roots will be here as well.
yeah. I was really hoping there'd be more Sacramento breweries, but I get it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people got rid of their Firkins over the years because FIRKINFEST was dead and nobody was
Yeah.
really beer moods changed. I think is a fair thing to say.
Yeah,
as
I
far
think
as
that's a
moving
good
away
way to
from,
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to me, as much as I'd look forward to a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale on cask, one of the things that I always thought Firkins didn't really do was really handle IPA well because they kind of round off the hop bite. But I think now that I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, I was like, I think a hazy would do pretty well because they already kind of round off those hop flavors anyways. Maybe we do a Firkin hazy and see what that does.
You never know. I'm not
Maybe.
opposed to it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think anybody's done it because why would you? But
Yeah.
what if they did?
Yeah. I didn't ask anyone to bring a hazy.
No,
for
you
this.
should, and you shouldn't have, and you shouldn't have. I mean, I had to think about it. I'm like, well, I guess it could work because of the way that those flavors work. Because like, I remember people would be like, oh, we've got our own this beer with like, a fruit added into the Firkin. So I'm like, well, they're kind of fruity too, so you could maybe try a hazy in a Firkin.
Yeah.
Something to think about for next year.
Yeah.
I'll make one. My brewing history is marked with undrinkable swill, but we could try it.
But yes, Moonlight is doing their Bombay by boat in the Firkin. So.
Okay.
So there's your IPA.
Yeah, I just had one. I just watched somebody drink one of those across the bar from me last week, and it was wonderful. Like,
Nice.
great choice.
Yeah. But yeah, I wish I could invite more. I mean, we're going to do it in the brewery, and we can handle about 10.
Yeah, 10's
10 Firkins in
about
there.
the number you want, also, because
Yeah.
the demand isn't really there. This is
Right.
a test market run. You can't be having 30 of them.
Yeah, and we've got 24 hours maybe to pour these things and have them taste good. I mean,
Yeah.
so we're going to try to get it all done in one day.
Yeah.
But I do, and I will certainly reach out to you, Ben Rice, when this happens. I would love to do quite a larger kind of real ale FIRKINFEST for Sac Beer Week.
Okay.
Maybe even in a bigger
Venue.
spot.
Yeah,
venue,
yeah.
somewhere downtown.
Yeah. I think,
Centrally located.
yeah, like a bar that
have-
has a space for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Have 20 or 30 of them there and just go for it. Make it almost a festival.
Yeah, make it a whole day.
Yeah.
Make a day of it. I think that's. I don't know. I feel like if once you've had it, you kind of it's a different level of beer drinking
Mm-hmm.
to me. You kind of get more education out of it, and more of an idea of like how deep those flavors can get.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's me as an old fart who misses those days. So thank you for doing it, by the way. And I think 10 is a perfect number because it's not too much
Yeah.
to put on somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a little 4-ounce tastings. People can get that or a full pint.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
10 Firkins for 10 years. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, look at that.
Just happened to work out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you putting in yours?
For sure, this that
Okay.
we're doing with Peter Hoey, and then depending on if we have a little more room, I'd love to do our ESB.
Oh.
Yeah, and do it real. Let it condition. Let it do a little fermentation in there.
Yeah, really put that special
Yeah.
in there.
Yes.
This is my most NPR moment I've ever had in my life.
You guys sound like the ladies from SNL.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I've gone too far into this. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, I can just imagine. They really put that special in that special bitter. I mean, personally, I don't know if you saw my crossed fingers. It was for the porter, but I didn't see the ESB coming, and I'm like, okay, actually, that's a great idea. Also,
Well, the porter is an option too, because we were discussing that with my brewers last week, and I think we might have an opening to throw the porter in.
yeah.
So
See,
we'll see.
all these things.
If we get it brewed, then there's a chance it'll be in a firkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, now there's going to be 12 firkins. I've just upped the number.
Yeah, so 10 for 10s was
It's gone
poetic.
now.
Yeah.
I've thrown it away.
Yeah.
Me and my talking.
You blew it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just like those firkins we've blown, because everybody's going to love FIRKINFEST. I think we've sold it.
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's for people who haven't had beer out of a firkin, it's like you said, it's a different experience. There's different flavors. You're not fighting with the carbonation and that kind of bubbly. You're just getting more out of it. Typically, they're a little warmer too.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll have ours kind of hopefully in that 45-ish range, 48, but we'll see.
yeah,
It's hard when you don't have refrigeration. We're going to just kind of throw a little ice on them here and there. But it's a definite, very cool experience for people who haven't tried it before.
Yeah, I think it's a great way for like the very hop-oriented beer drinkers to kind of understand like what malt and yeast do to a beer. I think it really downplays the hop a lot and really kicks up that malt a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, for me, like I said earlier, that depth of flavor that you don't really experience in like a typical pint. I love it.
Right. Yeah.
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 So that's, and I'm not anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not a beer expert. That's just what I get out of it. But
Well, yeah. Beer is, it's subjective. I mean, you get what you get out of it.
yeah.
And just because I may not like something doesn't mean it's not good. It's just someone else might love it.
Yeah. Speaking of things that maybe we differentiate on, we were talking about Oktoberfest earlier. Let's go back to it. Festbiers. I think the beautiful thing about a Festbier or a Märzen is that there's a pretty wide range of color and maltiness. What is your perfect Festbier / Märzen? And do you have a preference?
I tend to lean more toward the Vienna style just because I think it's, when you're drinking liters at a time, it's nice to have something that does have some flavor but maybe a little lighter on the malt. But it's interesting. The fest beers, like modern fest beers, are totally going the opposite direction from Märzens. I love Märzen. I love Sudwerk Märzen. But oftentimes now, I mean, they're not far off from a Helles. Really much lighter, a little lower alcohol. So we went last year. We went more toward the modern interpretation of fest. This year we went back more toward Vienna, and I think people are telling us, at least they want more Märzen. That's what when they go and have a fest beer, they're looking for a
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it also, again, to the person, like, so you've got, like, your Hofbrau and your Paulaner up, and I think those are distinctly different Oktoberfest beers. Like, for me, I'm going to drink the Paulaner.
Yeah, same.
And Hofbrau, I'm not really a huge fan of, actually, but where do you stand on that particular?
I don't know. That's
You-
I got to be careful here.
Oh, that's true. You've got the advertisements up.
Those are, those are also the German brewery OGs.
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, but I think that's the beautiful thing about beer in general, but also that understanding that like a style can have these wide ranges.
Right. Right.
Like to me, I'm like I don't want and like I think the Oktoberfest, the fest beer is kind of like a Goldilocks, right? Like it's too malty, it's not malty enough. It's too high ABV, it's too low ABV, and you just have your like ranges that you're just trying to find.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And, like I said earlier, it's like when people are drinking liters of stuff, you got to watch out. I mean,
Yeah.
getting much above 6%, you're quaffing liters of this
Yeah.
stuff, you're going to get yourself in trouble
Yeah,
pretty
that
soon.
day is going to be a
Yeah.
wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want it probably around 5, a little bit below 5.
Yeah, I think 5's a good number.
That's my cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I am. But like Also, in the leader, you want to have that color, that gold that you got there, as opposed to like a kind of lighter brown, or like a darker brown, or a light yellow gold hybrid. I'm like, I don't want either of those. I want gold.
Yeah, you want what you want.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But that's not what everybody wants, and that's why there's that range.
Right,
And some people
right.
have their preferences.
Yeah, and that's why we have Polliner. That's why we have Hofbrau. We've got all kinds.
Yeah,
Have what you want.
beer's wonderful. That's what and I think that's the other thing. A lot of people that don't drink beer is they think that you've had one, you've had them all,
Right.
and that's not true.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is
yeah. I'll never forget. Soon after we opened, I think we had Duchess de Bourgogne on tap, and I had 4 ladies sitting there drinking red wine, and I'm like, we just went over to talk to them, and they were enjoying their wine, and like, do you guys like beer? Like, no, we just like our wine. So I went over and poured a couple samples of the Duchess and gave it to them, and they're sitting there sipping it, and they absolutely loved it. They're like, we didn't know beer could be like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as much of educating people now, because people have so much more understanding of beers and beer styles now than they did, when I started. But even now, there's opportunities for people that drink wine that don't drink beer to give them some beer that they'll like. So it's fun. It's part of the fun.
Yeah. Oh, I just saw this the other day, and I was like, wait, hold on. That can't... So there's somebody in the beer space, like I think it's a maltster, sorry, that's doing like flavor additive that is barrel-aged flavor that you can just pour into your beer. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel great about that. But, I mean, things have changed. I mean, when I started, it was... the amount of ingredients now and things that you can do, I mean, they're hybridizing yeast and getting more juicy flavors out of a yeast. It's crazy. So, I try personally to stick with more traditional ways of doing things, like putting it in an actual barrel. But, I mean, some breweries don't have that option. So.
Yeah, it's space.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time and space.
Yeah, it's expensive.
You've got to find a barrel.
Labor intensive, and
Yeah.
so I'm not. Yeah, I mean, certainly there's no judgment to breweries that do that, and I think it, just in the last, let's say, 15 years, the amount of things that have come. Hazy IPAs is one. The pastry stouts is another. I mean, it's brought a lot of new people into the market. So, I'm certainly thankful for that.
Yeah. And it's certainly great for home brewers. I mean,
Absolutely.
So you can be like, I want to see what this is like. Just test it out. And then this doesn't happen often on Barley and Me because no one cares what I'm doing. But I did get a listener question today that it was asked of me directly as a beer person. But I was like, I'll bring it up. I've got some old school people on the pod. What happened to Newcastle? That was the question I got. Why is it used to be so prevalent and now it's not so much around?
Didn't they? And maybe I'm misremembering. But didn't they get like outed for like the recipe? There was something in regards to that, and there was some additives or something that they were
I
putting
think
in
so. Yeah. But I think more of his question was, what happened to brown ale?
Yeah.
In general.
I mean, so in my early drinking days, Newcastle, definitely.
Yeah.
Shinerbach was another beer that I would drink like at the dive bars that they actually had on tap back in the day. Sam Smith's is a favorite of mine.
yeah.
Yeah, nut brown ale.
Samuel Smith, I should say, not a singer, Sam Smith.
Yeah.
I will specify an English brown ale, different than an American brown ale. And I think there's an opportunity there for sure.
What do you think happened, Danny?
I don't know, and I think I seem to recall what Amber is saying, and it might have something to do with caramel coloring type stuff.
Yeah, like artificial caramel coloring.
Yeah, but it's just one of those styles that just seems to kind of not want to stick around, and I fully agree with the English versus the American brown. I'm not a big fan of darker malts and hops. I feel like there's just a kind of a butting head there thing that just doesn't quite work for me. The what do they call them? The Cascadian Darks, the black IPAs.
Oh, I do love those,
never
though.
was a fan
Yeah.
personally.
I do love those.
There's red IPAs, there's rye IPAs. There are so many of every category now. I just judged the Amador County Fair commercial beer competition last weekend, and I think we used the Brewers Association guidelines for that. But the amount of categories that they had was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when you sign up to judge, you get a list of things that you prefer to judge, or you get the whole list, and
Yeah.
you can mark what you prefer to judge and what you prefer not to judge. And I want to say we must have thumbed through like hundreds of styles, which is not normal when you're judging like a homebrew competition, right? So then we get there to judge, and because they've got like 200 styles, they had less than 300 beers submitted.
Yeah.
So then you've got like onesie twosie of all kinds of crazy styles.
Yeah, there's like malty,
But
non-stout.
But they had it broken down. So we judged a flight of French and Belgian saisons, but there was options for like American saison or
Yeah.
you know, and then like tropical light lagers, which I had actually not heard of, so I had to look that one up. Or
Yeah.
like it was Australasian tropical light lagers. So my point, roundabout, it was like one of the options towards the end of the day was, oh, do you want to do a flight of American IPAs? I was like, what even is an American IPA anymore? We've got West Coast, we've got
Yeah.
East Coast, we've got like the extra hoppy stuff, and then I'm like, just a regular American IPA? I don't even remember like what that's supposed to taste like
Yeah.
anymore, because no one makes like, oh, this is just an American IPA. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
because you got your Northwest pails, and it just
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm like it's like let me grab an ichthyologist real quick,
or even
and-
a sour. You know, there's the wine barrel aged sours. There's people are making those smoothie sours, which are crazy. But like, what even is a sour beer anymore? Like, people don't. I remember going to Russian River when I was first like exposed to their sour program,
Oh boy.
which was amazing. But then you got into those like kettle sours and like the really fruity sours, and you're like, this is not the same as these other sours. And I would like to go back to that. So
we're evolving.
So now I get hesitant when I go and someone has a sour, and I have to ask. I'm like, this isn't a smoothie sour, right? Like, I see that you've got
Yeah.
fruit in it.
Is there lactose in this?
Yeah. What does this look like?
Right.
Can I see through it? Is it like a Jamba Juice? What are we talking
Yeah.
about when you say sour?
Yeah, and there's no substitute for those. I call them real sours, the barrel aged, the barrel stuff, the mixed culture. There's no substitute for that complexity.
Yeah.
I mean, kettle sours are great,
They have their place.
and they have their following, and they have their benefits, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
You can't call it a sour, and they're just not the same.
Yeah, it's tough. And if anybody knows about evolution, it's you. Since you had your evolution series all those years ago,
Oh,
of
gosh,
the evolution of the
I
IPA,
forgot about that. Yeah,
the Evo, the Lute, and the Ion.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
yeah, that's IPA history.
Yeah, we did.
Right down the pike.
For those that don't know, I think this was our fifth anniversary.
Fifth
maybe?
anniversary.
Yeah, yeah. So I got 5 like newer breweries that are focusing on kind of new style IPAs. 5 kind of what did I call it? Like mid 2000s.
Yeah,
And then old school 5 brewers like Peter and Bill Wood and from Lodi Beer.
yeah.
So we did an evolution series. Yeah, so an old school kind of early mid 90s IPA, and then a mid 2000s,
Yeah.
and then a new.
So that's the past. That's 5 years ago. What's happening? 10th anniversary. Monk
10th
Cellar.
anniversary.
What are we doing?
Let's move on to another beer.
Okay, great. I'll do that.
This is another unfinished beer. This is an IPA that we did with Slice,
Okay.
and it's not dry hopped yet. I think it's around 7 days old. California Ale yeast, mostly Pilsner malt, a little bit of dextrin malt, I think. Simcoe is only in there right now, so this is all Simcoe, mostly at the knockout. But then we're going to dry hop it three ways
Oh.
of Nelson. So a cryo Nelson, a regular hop pellet Nelson, and keef, which I have never used before. So, yeah, I'm really excited about how this is going to be.
Have you had a hop keef beer?
Not that I know of.
Have you had any experience with keef in general?
I usually, full disclosure, I typically stay away from the West Coast IPAs, anything dry hop, double dry hopped. It's not my favorite style, so that actually is one of my. I don't judge it. I don't judge, but also I don't want it. Yeah. I used to not drink IPAs at all, so I've come that far. It was double IPAs that really kind of sold me because they've got that bolder malt backbone. So I will drink some double IPAs and then of course hazy. But even then, sometimes you look at them and I'm like, am I drinking orange juice? What are we doing here? So it kind of depends. But yeah, so probably no dry hopped keef for me.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're an OG. You'd have loved the IPAs in the mid '90s and had a little bit of crystal caramel malt, a little more malt background to it.
You can go to the Midwest. I call them Midwest IPAs, Midwest Coast IPAs. They're very malt heavy. I mean, they've definitely evolved because of the reality of beer. But I remember I went back home because I'm from North Dakota. Sorry, and I went back and there's Fargo Brewing, and I was like, I'll get an IPA. I'm like, Jesus, this is so malty. But I'm like, okay. But then there's that brewery in Fargo that's really good. Dryer, right? Is that Drecker? Drecker is there, and they have they're known for their hazies, and they're actually incredible. But and their sours, but they're the other sours. But I remember going back there and being like, oh yeah, they're still stuck in because beer's new, so.
It kind of, I mean, it's like pockets, right? Because we just went on a road trip to northern Colorado to Steamboat Springs, so we drove through Nevada. And then stopped in Park City, and so we only hit one brewery in Park City, but it was very California style. There was sours, a lot of hazy IPAs, and kind of nothing in the middle. So I can't even. Maybe I had a Kolsch or something because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then went up into Idaho, so Grand Teton. Which was smaller than I thought it would be. That's what she said.
Petite Teton, got it.
Because I've had their beer out here, so for them to be distributing, I just imagined that it would be bigger. But it's in a tiny town in Idaho, and then into Jackson Hole, and then down into Colorado, and in Steamboat Springs, I think we went to a couple breweries there, and very California.
Yeah, Colorado's a nice blend, I think, in California, of old and new school, because it's that's where Coors is. That's, where New Belgium is. So there's a rich history of Colorado beer, I think, that maybe gets overlooked. I think people think a lot of Oregon and California when it comes to American craft, but Colorado is kind of one of those places where it started, if you think about it, the craft beer movement.
Yeah. Brewers Association is there, and GABF, and
I had a chance to interview Peter Bokart at Purpose, but he's originally the person who brought sours to America at New Belgium, and that was pretty great.
That must have been cool.
It was so great. They're so sweet, and the beers are just phenomenal. I still have one just hanging out in my fridge. I'm like, one day this beer's gonna get drunk, but it's been 4 years, and I think it was a year and a half at that point. So it's just a 12-ounce can. I'm just one day you're gonna get drunk, and
don't wait too long.
Yeah, I feel like the next year and a half I gotta drink it. I gotta drink it in the next year and a half, or else it's problems. But yeah, my thought was, my girlfriend was pregnant, right? So I'm like, okay, well, once we have the baby, we can have this beer as a celebration. But once she had her kid, she has no taste for beer anymore. She doesn't drink it. I'm like, oh no. And so I'm like, well, one day she'll want a special beer, and so I'll have this, and it hasn't happened. So I'm like, I don't want to drink it alone. I want this to be, but it's also 12 ounces. What am I supposed to do with this?
I say you drink it.
I know.
At some point, I shouldn't even talk because I'm the biggest beer hoarder
Yeah.
from the 22-ounce bottle.
Oh yeah, the bombers that don't
craze.
exist anymore.
Yeah,
And
so
you
I
have like
still
15
have,
of them. Yeah.
I still have way too many of them. And it's like you wait for these special occasions because you're like, oh yeah, I'm saving this, and then
The time.
you have saved it too long now,
Yeah.
and we're opening bottles from 2015, and we're like,
Yeah.
this is like soy sauce.
I for sure have a 2012 of something lying around. And I was like, Jesus, what am I doing? Like, I'll try to Thanksgiving, what's great is a barrel-aged barley wine for dessert with Thanksgiving. And then I remember my family hates beer, and it's a bit of a struggle for me to take down 22 ounces of it by myself.
Are you guys familiar with Thomas Hardy ale?
Yeah.
English ale. I've got I think it's like a 1990
Oh,
bottle.
boy.
Yeah, I'm scared to open it.
But you have to.
I will. Yeah,
I
at some
just
point.
saw someone maybe in one of the beer groups on Facebook trying to sell some Thomas Hardy beer. I
Yeah.
thought. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
they
was-
say it's
it
good
was
for
Andy.
20 years. Was it a 1990?
Yeah.
It's
Just
delicious.
35-year-old
You should
beer.
buy it,
Anybody? Anybody? This beer is as old as I am. Anybody? Anybody want this?
So, this beer I just poured for you is, it is an apricot saison.
Immediately saison.
Yes.
No question.
So this was there's plenty.
Oh, yeah.
This was a saison that we did in our open fermentation tank. So I started out stainless, just a normal kind of saison yeast. And then we put it down into a barrel, a mixed culture barrel that we've been working on for several years. And it sat in that barrel for a year doing its thing. And then we pulled it out of the barrel and added some apricot puree in another stainless fermentation. And then bottled it and bottled conditioned it. So this is, we're releasing for our anniversary. And I'm super excited about this.
Incredible.
Yeah. So my boyfriend is a huge saison fan. He's in his saison phase right now. I went through mine a while ago.
I don't get out of it.
but-
I'm always in a saison phase.
I had one
good,
year
yeah.
where it's like it was saisons just all day, every day. But we have this rating scale for beers. Like also, everyone went through that Untapped phase, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
in order for me to give a beer a 5, when I drink it, if it makes my nipples hard because of the goosebumps that I get, that's a 5. And so I let Kevin take a sip of this beer, and he worded to me and said 5.
Yeah.
5, so.
Yeah. No, I saw his face, and it was the same face I think I made when I smelled it. Because he's like, oh, this is going to be a hitter. This isn't, yeah. And that apricot really blends so nicely. I think a lot of times when you get additives into saison, it kind of overpowers it.
Yeah.
And this one, it keeps both things so well.
Yeah, and it's really a balancing act. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Bernice, obviously from Sante, and that's kind of the inspiration.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so good.
and we have another one that I didn't bring up, but
Oh,
it's
you mentioned that you spent years working on this barrel. What does that mean? I'm going to cut you off. Don't you dare give us more beer.
Well, when you're doing weird, funky fermentation barrel stuff, it either works or it doesn't. It's either you kind of cultivate this. We have several barrels down in the basement, and some end up just not working, so we get rid of them, and some work. And this actually started with a spontaneous culture that we did up on our roof here at Monk's several years ago. So we took some wort that we made and took a 5-gallon bucket up on the roof and let it sit up there for about 30 hours, and then brought it down and dumped it in the barrel and added some fresh wort to it and let it do its thing. Let that sit for a couple of years, and then kept trying it, and like, yeah, this is working. So it's very old school, traditional kind of roll of dice, but it's kind of working. So now we've taken that barrel and started inoculated another barrel. So
Okay.
So we're kind of just trying to
Yeah, you're pulling from what you can out of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that process look like For the non-brewer at home.
As far as inoculating so it's just like you would, I guess, when you're home brewing or when you're making bread or kind of making a starter.
Yeah.
And it's just taking a small amount and then just kind of adding to it and letting it build up. And in this case, it's 53-gallon barrels. So fortunately, we have we're making beer often, so we have a lot of stuff to pull from. But yeah, it's just a painstakingly slow and process, and hopefully it works. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But so we've got two good barrels so there's this one, and then we're going to release another saison, which is non-fruited. So same base, two different barrels, two different histories of the barrels, pretty much the same inoculation, same bugs, but drastically different.
Yeah.
So awesome.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
And this is just like one barrel pour. It's not like a blend.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is an incredible barrel.
Thank you.
This is an incredible barrel.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a super light color. We're calling it Summer Belle.
Okay. I like that. Now, did you grill these apricots at all?
We did not. No. It was a puree that we got from Oregon Fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I've cut you off twice from whatever your next conversation piece is. You can do it now, I guess.
You were turning and reaching that way. That's all.
Oh, yeah. I was going to the next beer.
Sorry, Amber, do you want to expand on this saison any more than Kevin already did?
Yeah, besides it being a 5, not saison directly, but last weekend, so we happened to be judging all day together. So Kevin is also a beer judge. We judged a flight of urban spice beers, which can be any style. They just have to have herbs or spices added. But it can get weird because you could be judging a variety of different styles all on the same flight. But I think just my word of advice, if you are a home brewer or even a commercial brewer and you're entering a beer into that category, please say what the base style is. You're laughing, but I think at least half of the beers that we judged did not give the base style. Just
herb.
Just whatever they added to it. But how am I supposed to tell you, like,
if you nailed it,
if I don't know what it's supposed to be?
But also, if you can't tell, it wasn't good, right?
Well, we had one, and it was golden in color, but they added vanilla, and I'm like, all I'm getting is vanilla hop liquid.
Yeah.
And then we had one that they added like 5 or 6 different kinds of pepper, and so it was very spicy. But that, again, did not give a base style. So I don't know, just putting that out there as a thing in the universe.
Give me a baseline to start from.
I don't
to build
even
up to.
Yeah, I don't remember what. Oh, I think there was maybe a sour with like coconut that was kind of good, but other than that, it was coconut and something else. But it was nice. It was tart, not funky, but just something to think about.
Yeah, because when you're judging, I mean, the by definition, you have to try to be as objective as you can, and that's how you judge, right? It's how you give points to a certain beer. And the only way to do that is if you know
what your starting point is.
What you're judging.
Yeah. So the connection there was that the apricot, the saison, I mean, that's a classic pairing.
Yeah.
So great addition. If that had been in the flight, I think that would have won without a problem.
Yeah. How's that feel? Knowing that if you just entered the Amador Commercial Brewers.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So we're moving on to another one of our anniversary beers, and this is what we're calling Vintage 10.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever tried Fuller's Vintage Ale.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Not
varies.
in a long time,
It varies year to year.
Yeah.
Kind of, they change the recipe, but this is mostly Maris Otter Pale Ale malt from Simpson's, and a little bit of crystal malt. A little bit of their medium crystal malt, and it really is kind of I'm just calling it a British strong ale. It's not quite a barley wine. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a little big for a strong ale. It's not an old ale, but it's the Fuller's House strain of yeast,
Nice.
and then a decent amount of East Kent Golding in there. Trying to get what I was trying to do is get a light kind of barley wine, but a little bit of orange, from the Kent Goldings, or at least the crop that I got.
Yeah.
And this is about 10%, so it's
Oh,
within barley wine range.
It does not taste like.
Yeah.
10%.
If you just told me this was like
That's a
5.3, I'd be like, yeah,
sneaky
that
10%.
makes sense.
Mm.
But like, yeah, I think. I mean, I guess when you say it's a strong ale, first of all, you should assume a pretty high ABV, but also I think the flavor profile fits. Like to me, like it's strong. It's like kind of an implaceable in between. That's I'm like, I get why you wouldn't call it those things because
Yeah, because
it doesn't really
have
taste like
that
them.
kind of nut and dark
Yeah.
fruit character that a barley wine would have. But
Mm-hmm.
and then bottle conditioned in the bottle.
I'm mad that this is 10% because there's no indication at all.
Yeah,
In
we
flavor.
brewed this about 4 months ago. I wanted it to have some age for obvious reasons. And Vintage 10, it was just a special beer, special name. So wanted it to have a little bit of age.
Yeah.
Didn't want you to know it was 10% alcohol.
Yeah.
Let it.
Till later.
Yeah,
When it
when-
hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just leave it. I think you're allowed to just leave that off the menu, right? You don't have to say what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally legal and fine. Just like, you'll be surprised. And
Yeah,
just
yeah.
walk away.
I could put just 5% alcohol on the label and
Yeah.
let people have fun.
5
Yeah.
question mark?
So I'm a huge Fuller's fan, and there was a time in my life about 12 years ago where I started moonlighting as a bartender, and I was working at the Fat Rabbit,
Oh, yeah.
which is related to the Bon Lair in Sacramento, and good friends with the Boyette family who owns Bon Lair. And so this is like I can see myself sitting in one of the wooden booths, drinking this. That's what kind of reminds me of just like the Bon Lair.
Oh, man.
Love the Bon there.
Love it. Do you get there very often? You're in Roseville. It's tough.
It's not that far, but
It's not, but when you're drinking, that
Yes,
comes into
yeah.
play. You're like, ugh.
Then you have to get out. You have to get out of that parking lot. You have to find parking. Find it. Oh. I've only parked in the parking lot once. That was a complete fluke. I'm like, there's a space.
Oh, I don't like getting out of that parking
No, that's what I'm
lot.
saying.
Yeah.
And
Getting
you've been,
in
and
is
you've
one
been
thing.
drinking,
Getting out is not.
and you got to get out. I'm like, oh, this was short-sighted.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't go there very often, and it's a bummer because I really like it there.
it's just a cozy little spot.
Yeah.
They just took our beer, so I'll get over there soon.
Yeah, yeah, they always have you on pretty much, right?
Not always, but yeah,
A lot of time.
we're in the rotation.
Yeah, I feel like the porter's on
Mm-hmm.
on the engine.
Yeah. I think it was something strange. I shouldn't say strange, but I think it was some kind of hazy or one-off IPA we did that they may have taken.
Really?
Which is odd.
Okay.
But
They take more local stuff now than they
Yeah,
used
they
to.
used to, yeah,
Yeah,
because they were
for
very
sure.
much like we're a British pub, and you're gonna get British beer here.
What I miss though is the having the DBA on draft.
Oh, yeah.
And like what even happened to DBA?
Yeah, you hardly see it ever.
Yeah, that
That's
used
what
to
I was
be-
hoping for in the cask.
Oh,
Where we just
that
have
would be
a
great.
DBA.
Yeah. The DPAs. That's a standard. Man,
Yeah.
beer has changed. Beer has changed.
There were 5 when I started at Sac Brewing. There were 5 breweries: Rubicon, Sudwork, Hogshead, which was in Old Town Sac, Sacramento Brewing, and who am I forgetting?
The
Did I say
pizza
River?
place. There's River City, and then there's
River City. River City. Yeah.
the pizza place.
Hoppy.
Hoppy. Brewing.
Yeah.
yeah,
That
on
opened.
Folsom.
I think they were 96 or 97.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
yeah.
yeah.
But now there's what, 80 plus.
80 plus, and I think that's like a 2019 number.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Few
things
closings,
have opened and
but
closed,
yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think that overall openings are up over closings.
Yeah. People are drinking less beer for sure.
Yeah.
So we're in a little bit of a downswing, but
Yeah.
it's the 3rd one I've been in, so I'm not
Yeah.
too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your full bar, you've got your restaurant, and
Yeah.
you've got things for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about non-alcoholic stuff?
It has its it has its place, right? I mean, there are people that love to go out and imbibe, and and there are people that can do that in a healthy way, and there are people that can't. And having an option for those that still want to go out and have some fun, I think it's great. We have some here. We don't make any, but boy, talk about growth.
Yeah.
I mean, Athletic Brewing, they just bought. Who'd they buy?
I don't even know.
I think they took over the Modern Time space, maybe.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because okay, that makes sense. I think
One
they
of the
wanted
big
to do a
ones.
West Coast. I think they had a West Coast operation.
One of the big ones down
Yeah.
there. So,
And then they introduced Tall Boys recently. Tall Boys of NA.
I still think they're just not quite there taste-wise for me.
Yeah,
But,
a lot of the stuff I think misses, but
Yeah.
there's some things that I'm like, okay, I get this.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird because they're like main one, they're Run Wild, I think is not that stellar, but there's a few that I'm like, okay, this gets pretty close to what we're looking
Yeah, it
at.
just has that. In Amber, I don't know. I mean, I went through the BJCP thing as well, and there was a period of time where I couldn't enjoy a beer after I went through the whole program. But now at this point, it's like I can turn certain things off and just sit there and not
Think about
analyze it,
Yeah.
and think about it and just drink it.
Yeah.
But I can't get past the warty
Yeah.
kind of character.
Yeah,
in
there's
those NA.
It's thick in the wrong places and thin in the wrong places. There's like a
Yeah.
textural difference.
Yeah.
I haven't had Athletic, but I have had, is it Bravas?
Promise.
They do, I want to say it's a raspberry goza that's non-alcoholic. And I bought like a 12-pack of that just on I don't know, there was like a discount code or something. And it was surprisingly good for me.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any of their other styles. But it was kind of nice, like on a hot day, if you just worked out or something, and you're like, okay, like I'm pretending that this is a beer. It's refreshing. It's crisp. It's carbonated. I don't drink like LaCroix or anything like that. So for me, like to be drinking or to not drink,
Yeah.
I should say, I was like, okay, this will work.
Yeah. There's Barrel Brothers up out of Santa Rosa area. Not Santa Rosa exactly. It's somewhere, one of the towns nearby. They do full alcohol beers. They got a restaurant now, but they also do NA versions of anything that's under 7%. So there's a nice little chance to do side-by-sides there. To be like, what are the difference? And they use a vacuum program that just sucks the alcohol out. So it keeps most of the stuff that they made their beer with, besides the alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Is that a big brewery?
It's not particularly big, no.
Because those are usually pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Those vacuum.
Yeah, they were doing it in their small space, and they opened a bigger space, so I think that
Gotcha.
probably helped them up with
Gotcha.
that. But, they're like, we're in, and again, the stout really suffered, I think, because there's so much that alcohol adds to that body and mouthfeel for a stout.
Yeah.
That there's no good NA stout.
Yeah.
Don't go there. And they're also not allowed to use the word stout, so
Oh.
so they have to do like a weird name, like flavored ale or something like that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That sounds tasty.
Yeah, who wants a flavored ale? I mean, that's what they all are, I guess, if you think about it. But
Yeah.
I
Speaking
did
of-
drink non-alcoholic beer when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
But that's the
It's
only
there for
time
that.
I like invested in it.
It's
Or I
there
was
for
like
that.
out at dinner. Oh, I'll have a.
Yeah.
But at that time there was like two options.
Yeah.
That restaurants would have.
Yeah, and they weren't good.
No, it was. Is it Guinness that makes?
Oh, Guinness makes a good one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
zero.
Guinness and
then-
Heineken are actually
That
really
is,
good.
the Guinness one is probably the best that I've had.
Yeah, the Heineken is better than regular Heineken, if you ask me. The Heineken Zero is better than regular Heineken. I'll say it right now.
Well, all right.
Speaking
That's
of
not
just
a-
non-alcoholic things,
This has alcohol, I
okay,
promise.
and it's a style that probably wouldn't do well with the de-alcoholization process.
No. So this beer has an interesting, pretty fun history. So last year for our 9th anniversary, we did a collaboration with Moxa. And of course, it was an Imperial Stout.
Mm-hmm.
And we took half of that beer and put it into a Frey Ranch bourbon barrel and then a Spirit Works bourbon barrel. And this particular one is the Frey Ranch version. And the cool thing about that barrel is we split a bourbon barrel of Frey Ranch with Hawks in Granite Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got half of that barrel in bourbon, and they got the other half. and then we got the actual barrel that whiskey was aged in, and then put this beer in that barrel. And then, so it's been in the barrel for about a year now, a little over a year, and we added a little bit of vanilla to the barrel. This is just straight out of the barrel, so it's not carbonated or anything yet, but it will be one of the ones that we release on our anniversary. And this is 13.1%. So
It's been resting for this entire episode, waiting
Yeah.
to be enjoyed.
Also kind of sneaky, though.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you keep doing. Bringing these beers out. Be like, by the way, it's going to ruin your life, but it won't taste like it.
I'm a sneaky guy.
Yeah.
There are some 13% beers where it's like a little hot. Maybe
Yeah.
this is not the case here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
smooth.
could certainly tell when the beer was young, but after a year in the barrel, it got that. And one of the things in the design when I was working with Corey on this beer, I'm not a huge fan of those really sweet pastry stouts. And I'm like, I want the stout to be a little closer to like Imperial Stout, a little drier. I mean, it certainly has a sweetness there,
Yeah.
but to me, even with the vanilla, it's just not cloyingly, doesn't sit there and stick on your tongue,
Yeah.
which I like personally.
Yeah. I love the undersweetened. Yeah. I think the pastry stouts, they're just, I feel like I'm getting diabetes.
Right.
And I'm like, I just want to have a stout like my mom used to make, And
Yeah. Like Old Rasputin or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Classic.
and I don't, like an Abyss. Do you guys remember Abyss today? So
Oh, yeah.
do those?
Deschutes,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. Maybe I have a bottle of the 2015 at home in my beer hoarding
It's probably in there.
collection. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have a bunch of Abyss, like seasonals. I don't think. Did I say Abyss seasonals? Deschutes seasonals. Like I have like a Jubel and like I know there's one with like grape must that I have in there somewhere, and it's got to be from like 2013. I'm just like, one day I'll find somebody who wants to drink this, because my girlfriend also hates stouts, which is like the thing for barrel, like bottles
Right.
that you keep for years.
Right. Those
like
are
nice
if you're
to
going to keep
share.
anything.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta find somebody who will drink this with me. And then like all my friends hate stouts. So I was like, come on, come drink this really great stout. It's only getting worse every day.
That's the holiday dessert beverage pairing that you just need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again,
Bring it, throw it on the table.
like if I went to Oregon and visited my sister and her husband, it would be fine, because he works in the beer industry. It's his whole thing. But like my family here, they're like, we don't like this at all. I'll take an MGD. I'm like, no, we would just try this thing with me.
It's gone away a little bit. It's that whole bottle share. I feel like there's just
Yeah,
not that. I mean, that's a great bottle to take to a bottle share.
I think. Yeah, I think
Taste it.
I think the hop craze really kind of killed that, because you have to have it immediately and you can't just keep it for the share that's going to happen in 3 months.
Right.
Because apparently hops only last 3 months. Is that correct? I've heard a lot that hops only last 90 days and then you have to dump them all. Is that correct? No, I don't think so.
No.
Well, personally, as a non-hop forward drinker, I remember somebody threw out like a Pliny that was like past its prime. And I had it, and I was like, "Oh,
What is this?" Yeah,
this was a long time ago. Now I can drink Pliny fresh now. I'm good, but yeah, I was like, "Huh, interesting." So I don't know, drinkable, but not if you're looking for how it's supposed to taste.
yeah. I think it's a sign of, like, I think we all kind of learned that hops hide a lot of flaws, and so you let an IPA kind of go, you now have to see what that beer really was, and that's like pretty good signifier of what this brewer is able to do. Because like I found a Claim Steak beer in my fridge. There's a double IPA, and it was like a year and 3 months old. I'm like, well, I forgot about this. Let's bust it open, and it was great. It was a great beer, because I don't know if you know this, Brian makes great
Brian makes
beers.
good beers.
Yeah, so it was nice to like kind of experience that, and I like, oh no, the malt's gonna shine through. What a terrible crime to happen here. Oh no, the brewing process is gonna be shown for what it is.
Well, and there's so much that can go wrong too. It could be a fantastic beer, but if the packaging is poor and there's so many.
Yeah, that's always a bummer. I hate that.
Fresh is good.
Yeah. All right. So you said you had a week of events.
We do, yeah. So
10th
so we're still closed Sundays and Mondays, but starting on Tuesday, we're doing a trivia 10 years of Monks and 115 years of Roseville. So we're kind of making it a community trivia. Mm-hmm. The mayor is going to have a table, so it's kind of a come beat the mayor's table. So trying to get some county execs and city execs and, of course, our community to come out to do that. And then Wednesday, we are releasing this beer, well, in two versions of this beer, one in the Prairie Ranch and one in a Spirit Works barrel. And we're also releasing a 10-year Elijah Craig bourbon that we purchased a barrel of.
Wow.
It's kind of a happy 10th anniversary Monks barrel. Thursday, we're releasing the saison that we did with Doc Brewing in Ghent, Belgium. That is on its way over at the moment. Hopefully it'll get here. And then we're going to release the two different saisons that we did. Friday is the actual day of our anniversary, so live music and just kind of a big party. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday, the FIRKINFEST. Saturday, 12 to 4, so it's early. So you
that
can
next week?
October 19th.
October, okay.
Yeah.
18th.
October 15th through the 19th.
Yeah. I was like, I'll just count it backwards. I know the 19th is the FIRKINFEST, so the 18th is the music, and the 17th is the saison, and the 16th is the stouts, and the bourbon or whiskey. Sorry, bourbon. Great. And you said you bought barrels, so that means
we'll have about 100 and we haven't got it all yet. 120, 130 bottles to
get out of
to get rid of. We'll do a special cocktail. We're kind of doing the food menu. Oh, I forgot about that. The food menu, we're doing kind of best of stuff that we've done over the 10 years.
Nice.
And then in the same fashion that we do collaborations with breweries, we're doing 3 collaborations with different restaurants. So
oh, really?
Hawks, Nick's Taco, and Old Town Pizza.
Huh. Never been to them. Are they good?
No?
Are these
They're
places any good?
They're all right.
Huh.
So we're doing fun stuff with them. So we'll have that on the menu all week as well.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, is there a specific date for these, or are they just available all week?
They'll be available all week.
Oh yeah. Do you know what kind of what you're making so far?
Yeah. So with Hawks, we're doing what are we calling it? Kind of a French onion soup burger, and it's going to be kind of a, what do they call them? Slutty burgers, where it's like a kind of a knife and fork burger in a bowl, and then kind of French onion soup and a really nice Gruyere cheese.
Okay.
And with Nick's Taco, we're doing a smoked mole short rib, bone-in short rib, over some mashed potatoes, and it's gonna be delicious. And Old Town Pizza, we haven't quite figured it out, but it'll be some kind of open-faced hoagie roll pizza-esque sandwich, hot sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, we got glassware, of course, coming, a bunch of swag. We got temporary tattoos of our door and our logo. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we need to know before we leave? Amber, anything you got going on? Anything you want to discuss?
I don't think so. That just, the whole week, brings back memories of trying to go to something every day during Sacramento Beer Week, and it's payday, and I'm like, I do not have the stamina for that anymore. I gotta pick my favorite event and just all in on that one day.
Yeah, so Saturday for me is mine, but you don't have to agree. It's okay if you don't want to do Saturday. You can do saison. It seems like saison might be a good day for you.
Yeah, or Nick's Taco.
Oh, Nick, but it's all day. It's every day.
Right.
That's every day.
That'll be all week and probably all month, to be honest. I mean, at least from there to the end of the month. But yeah, it was obviously a huge milestone, a huge number. Yeah. And oftentimes I miss anniversaries because I can't go on that particular day, and I'm like, let's do something every day to give. If someone can't come on Firkin or Saturday or can't come Friday, can come Tuesday or Wednesday. Just give them one chance
fit their schedule.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. As
Other than
someone
Sunday,
with,
Monday.
like children and school
Yeah.
things and weekend. Like my daughter was playing travel ball. I'm like, I can't go on the weekend. So when people do something like the whole weekend, you still get like the good beer and like the good food. That's always a plus.
Yeah. And I think I can round some people up at FIRKINFEST. I had some people I used to go to FIRKINFEST with. I'm like, hey, you guys want to go to this thing?
Yeah. So and we wanted to do it earlier. I mean, Saturday is always a busy day anyway, but we wanted to do it early and then make sure they all get consumed for the day.
Yeah. And 10, again, is a great number for that because it's not a popular style anymore because life happens. And what if we're losing our history, you know? What if we just made sure that there was a few days of a year where we remembered it?
I personally, whenever I'm at a brewery or a place that has like the beer styles that I would like to see more of, I order it just on principle because I'm like, yes, keep making this.
Same, yes.
Please. And then if anyone ever has a beer on cask, regardless of what it is, I'll order it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to support those things to keep them alive.
Yeah, because like Auburn Ale House and Rubicon both used to have like a day a week where there's like always a cask beer.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of like faded out because number of reasons. Like, you know, money's tight and it wasn't that popular anymore because...
I mean, a big part of it is just education though, right?
Right.
Like people don't know what that means or people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So...
And it's definitely a challenging drink if you don't... Even if you describe it, hey, it's going to be warm and it's going to like deeply affect how it tastes and it's going to be low carbonation and they're like, what?
Why?
Why would you do this to me? I'm like, because
that sounds
it's good.
awful.
Yes. So like there's that barrier to like
it's
when you tell them what it is, like that doesn't sound interesting. Like, but it's great though. And
here's why I'm always like, here's why this is special. So I think it's all hot.
You have to
gotta tee it up the right
you
way.
gotta sell it the right
This
way.
is super cool. This is super special. You can't get this anywhere else.
Yeah.
And offer it in half pints so people can kind of...
taste it, see what they feel about it. It's like, no pressure. Hey, if you don't like it, we got the regular version right over there. But I think you know, as hazies have become so popular and like pastry styles have become so popular, there's kind of that loss of education for the current or the more modern beer consumer, where they're kind of used to this very narrow range of things when there's such a broad range of things.
Yeah, I always view those particular styles as it's like a flashy
Gateway.
lure for a fish. It's like, what's the next thing? And it's like, in my evolution over the years, it's like, I remember when I was starting, it's like Pete's Wicked Ale, and then they had the Pete's Wicked Winter, which was raspberry, so I was flocking to these just big, flavorful things, and then you just come back down to earth, and those beers, the Pilsners and the Märtzens and the other things that kind of got you into it and excited about it to start. And at least that's for me. And I hope that comes back too. I mean, I feel like this little dip that we're in is partly because what else are people going to do? I mean, they did the pastry stouts. Now we're seeing those imperial fruited sours, and it's like, what else?
Yeah. Here's a question. We're supposed to go so long ago. But for me, hazies to Belgian seems like a pretty straight draw with that fruitiness to it. Do you find that you can sell somebody a hazy and move them slowly to a Belgian? Or do you think that's kind of a harder sale?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a harder sell. I think that one thing that's interesting to me is what I see a lot of, and it's, you know, through things like Untappd and social media, it's that influence of those people that are kind of influencing, for lack of a better word, what is good and what's not good, and what, you know, the whole hype.
Yeah, hype pieces.
And I just feel like they're particularly the newer, and to a certain extent you have to, like when you're new to something, you kind of have to see what other people are saying about it and think about it, and you kind of form your own. But I feel like there's just an extra heavy amount of influence from social media, Untappd, where people, for whatever reason, they'd say, oh, this beer's really good, so it must be really good, so I love it. You know, as opposed to
groupthink.
Yeah, kind of that tribal kind of,
be a part of the group. Yeah.
So I hope that, you know, as people get more educated and they just consume more things and they just start listening to their own palate. And yes, I do like this, even though this is a 3.4 on Untapped. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because there's so many of those reviews like, I don't like lagers, 1. And you're like, well, what?
Yeah, or people discount it because it tastes like XYZ, but I'm like, that's how it's supposed to taste.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
exactly.
Yeah. Steal from the greats, you know? And, yeah. Yeah. Andy, anything else you wanted to talk about before we get out of here?
I don't think so. Appreciate you coming out, and great meeting Amber, and yeah.
I think we tackled everything I came out here for. Ben, is there any reason you want to go on a tangent that you'll cut in editing later? No. Great. Okay, so we've done it. Episode 148 of Barley, me, Monk Cellar, 10th anniversary, October 15th through the 19th.
19th, yeah.
Look, I did the double dates. I remembered them.
Yeah.
This will come. I'll take my sweet time with it, and it'll be closer because nobody will remember if I put it out tomorrow. They'll be like, "Well, that's so far away."
Yeah.
So I'll just.
And is it 148 or 184?
I almost said something.
Did I say 148?
You said 184 at the beginning, yeah.
Did I say 148 now?
Yes.
Oh, it's definitely 184. And according to Apple Podcasts, it's actually 202. But because I did a lot of side projects during COVID, I don't know why. For some reason, I didn't want to bother brewers who were like struggling to survive. Like, hey, would you give me 2 hours for free for no reason? I didn't feel like doing that, so I did other things. But you can check those out. There's a basketball podcast. There's a movies featuring beers podcast that I did. Yeah, there's things. You can check them out. You can check out literally any of the 202, 184 episodes of... Sorry. This has been episode 184, apparently, of Barley and Me.
You know what's one kind of interesting about that, too, is this year is the 189th Oktoberfest in Munich.
I'm so close.
So
I'm right. You know, if we average them out, it's still not right.
Yeah.
202
It was
and
those
184
sneaky
didn't
strong
work.
beers that Andy gave you.
Yeah.
That
Made me-
flips the 4 and the 8 around. Yeah.
I think it's just my brain not working. I'm old now. We're all so old, and
We're old,
I'm in
and
my
you-
prime.
And you have a young kid, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
so you have toddler
Real
brain.
dumb mistake.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. Should have done that way before. I did. Don't regret it at all, but also should have done it way sooner. I was like, I don't want to be a dad, and I'm like, this dad stuff's pretty great. I should have done this.
Hard to do when you're older.
Yeah. Especially when she's a giant who doesn't. It's like, you know what? I don't want to walk. I know I can, but you need to carry me. I'm like, you're so big. Why are you doing this to me?
Louis C.K. did a bit about that. Like,
Yeah.
she can walk, but she doesn't. She's a bullshitter.
Yeah.
That's,
Awful.
I know
Awful.
he's canceled now, but
And like,
that was true.
I used to like balance like right arm, left arm, right arm, left arm, and now I like forgot to do left arm, and now I like can't carry her left arm because she's so big.
That's what your hips are for.
Yeah,
You
well,
actually
I actually end up destroying my hip at some point during this process, and so it's also a problem. Anyway, I had a really rough. Anyway, my hips don't work the way that they should, and so I also carried my weight wrong, and so now.
Plus, you're a man.
Plus,
so.
I don't know what that means.
Well, maybe your hips aren't as pronounced.
Oh,
as
okay,
a
yeah.
woman.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not
You have
offended
a
now.
different shaped waist.
Yes.
Than mothers
Yes,
do.
and I'm prone to losing cartilage. Like I used to be a really great, this softball, baseball. I used to be a really great pitcher and thrower. I used to like not need a cutoff man, and then I tore my rotator cuff very young, and like I just been losing all the cartilage and everything. So my hips are like also like we also don't have cartilage, and so it's just a whole thing. Anyway,
That was a
do we
tangent
want to talk
at the
about the
end.
medical problems that I have? Okay. 184. 10th anniversary, Monk Cellar. 10 years.
10 years.
A lot of people don't get there anymore.
No.
And
I didn't think I would get here.
Yeah.
To be honest. I mean, it's just
They're ups and downs.
ups and downs for sure.
Yeah. I did. And she mentioned, Amber mentioned coming through and getting food to go. Did you ever come here or just have it delivered?
No, so we've done all of the things. Well, actually, not
Well,
delivered.
during
we
the-
never. I don't even do whatever
The
DoorDash. I don't
Uber,
do any of those. Like
Because
I
it
look
hurts
at
businesses, and we all know it.
and I look at the prices, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go.
Okay.
So
So you drove through the backside, which
we
was
came,
great.
yeah, and picked up food during quarantine
Yeah.
because we made a list of all the places that we liked, and we're like, these are the places where we're gonna support during quarantine. And so we did where we would get beer once a week from a brewery, and we would get food once a week to go. Monk Cellar, twofer, because they have food and beer.
Yeah.
But then we've also been here a couple times. My daughter has played softball for like 7 years now, and so always lots of tournaments in Roseville and Rockland, and we only have like one handful of places that we like to go to, and this is one of them. So the kids have also been here, and I think you guys do. Like, I know I appreciate a Bloody Mary on the weekends, and so definitely it's like Bloody Mary, and then we'll switch to beer. So I do love a brewery with a full bar for that particular reason.
Yeah.
And you don't go weird with Bloody Marys, right? You just make a classic Bloody Mary.
Just a classic Bloody
like
Mary.
We threw a burger on this. Why are we doing this?
We thought about it. It was just too catchy. Just
That's for Wisconsin.
not us.
That's when you're in Wisconsin. Get
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah, like maybe a baked chicken on the top.
Yeah.
Cheese curds. All of
Like
it.
you can put a piece of bacon in there, I guess. And that's as far as I'm willing to go.
I don't even like bacon in my, because it's usually cold.
Yeah.
And so it's like the fat is all weird on it.
Yeah.
If it's fresh bacon, sure, but like usually they pull it out of
and
like
it's been
the fridge,
sitting.
and you can see they're all like these stiff, weird pieces of bacon now because they've been in the fridge the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Like I said, I'll accept it, but I don't. I'm just give me a Bloody Mary, extra spicy.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
Yeah. That's what we do.
You respect the stuff that you're working with, and your
We
clientele.
We try to keep it simple and good.
And they have duck fat fries.
And they have duck head fries, which, as far as I know, it's you and Lowbrow. End of list.
Yeah.
Is Fat Rabbit do it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. See? So, just you. And Lowbrow.
No, bro.
Yeah. Who could maybe do a FIRKINFEST?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad venue. Especially if they can open up the street. And
Yeah. It's true. Have they opened up that street yet? I don't think they've opened up that street yet.
Every time I drive by, it's closed for like a farmer's market or like an evening event.
Yeah,
or
they kept it closed all COVID, which was like really good for everybody on that street. But I think they might have. Doesn't matter. You know what? The episode's over. I said this a million years ago. This is classic me. Classic me. Just dragging it out. Episode 184. Barley and me. Andy Klein, Monk Cellar. Thank you so much.
thank you, Ben.
BJCP official judge for America, Amber Dalske. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks so much for listening. Get home safe.